Profile, a fact-finding mission on matters of development by the Government Information Service.
Dominica's terrain does not lend itself to large-scale livestock production. However, small-scale livestock production has historically been an important activity on the island. With the rising cost of imported foods, the government of Dominica is intensifying efforts at increasing livestock production on the island. Traveling across Dominica, one may be lucky to sight a few goats, sheep and cattle along the roads. These animals are owned by small farmers who rear them specifically for domestic consumption. Most farmers who raise livestock, however, are located on the northeastern portion of the country. Dominica and the region depend on imported meat, particularly chicken, to provide protein for the population. Traditionally, the island has consumed more locally produced meat. But with increased demands for cheaper products, the island's merchants, driven by market demands, have been importing increasingly large quantities of meat from the United States and Canada. It has become necessary for government to invest in local food production, both for meat and dairy.
From experience, I can tell you straight over that the potential in terms of 1 acre of land growing crops is generally much better than putting it towards livestock. On the other hand, there are certainly opportunities in livestock that profits can be certainly had from livestock, especially with the rise of meat. And not only that, or the demand by some of our people to go for fresh meat, unlike the imported chicken that we've been regularly accustomed to. However, second reason I think for the decline has been the attitudes of our people. And I think we need to build back that positive attitude towards livestock. You see a lot of forage being available for livestock, sometimes just on the sides of the roads, but also on pastures, and livestock farmers are not adequately utilizing those resources. So I think it's a challenge that we have to look at in terms of effectively bringing back people to livestock and showing them the opportunities that are available.
With declining figures in the number of cattle, sheep and goats on the island, a bold decision was taken by the government of Dominica to develop the island's livestock genetic resources.
In Dominica, if the small farmers own the land, you must have some central facility operated preferably by government and people who understand the science to bring in the proper stock and keep them under good conditions to ensure that good quality genetic material is available for the small farmers to use. And I'm a strong believer that small farmers can be as efficient and sometimes more efficient than our large operations. The only thing is there are certain things they can't do. They can't do the thorough breeding that they need to do to make a profit. They can't sometimes bring in the expensive top flight breeding stock, which they need. And they are sometimes not financially able to handle the sale of their production.
There is a need to reduce on the import bill in relation to the importation of meat products. It is not a situation where we cannot do it here. We can do it here. We have the expertise here. We have the resources here. And we are able to meet domestic demands right here in Dominica.
The first objective was to provide improved breeding stock to farmers and improve forage material for planting out by farmers. The second was to provide a training and demonstration facility for prospective and individuals involved in the livestock subsector. A third function was the whole question of research and development in improved breeding systems, in improved feeding systems, and the like. And importantly, I think the Central Livestock Farm is an expression of governments and the ministries of agriculture's commitment to the livestock sector and to the agricultural sector in general.
As a result of the increased pressure for land close to the city of Roseau, the Central Livestock Farm, which was originally located at Stork Farm, had to be relocated. The process of relocation began as early as 1990, when the unit was moved to Savon York in Salisbury.
I think one of the major reasons why the movement was the whole question of the expansion of the city of Roseau. The city of Roseau expanded, as you know, to Stork Farm and beyond, and it became of importance that we relocate the Central Livestock Farm. Certainly the value of lands in the Central Livestock Farm at the traditional stock farm had increased to beyond the point that we could maintain the Central Livestock Farm in that very area. And importantly, it also became an issue of the clash between housing and animals in terms of the smells and in terms of the odors and sanitation in general. Hence the movement. So we decided to move that into available lands that were more centrally located in the agricultural belt and hence better serve the farmers. Our movement to Salisbury was generally done with the pig development as a major focus, and hence with the support of the French we invested heavily in a production facility at Salisbury. However, the soils in that area were an obvious challenge to us, and even the location away from the major road created many obstacles to us in terms of the cost of infrastructure. So when lands became available for us at Londonderry, we moved to there.
The Londonderry estate was identified as the most suitable site for the new Central Livestock Farm. This site consists of 90 acres of land, including 3 acres of preserved swampland and a small area of established citrus trees.
The site is certainly much more functional in terms of its accessibility and in terms of the quality of soils that we have there. Also the topography was better. In terms of the land is undulating and certainly much better for grazing and for situating the various buildings that were required.
The new Central Livestock Farm, located directly to the north of Melville Hall Airport, represents a giant improvement over the previous livestock facility at Stork Farm. The Livestock Department unit of the Ministry of Agriculture is now in the process of building a new facility dedicated to the production of livestock. Already, a number of buildings have been erected. A total of 10 people are currently employed on the farm, performing the day-to-day operations. Michael Bofong, who began working with the Ministry of Agriculture back in 1984 at the Stork Farm livestock location, is now employed as the foreman at the Londonderry Farm.
Here is much better. It may be a little far from home, but I really like it here. It's much better. We have a lot more land. The buildings are much better. Everything is like better than Stork Farm. I mean, Stork Farm, before the hurricane, the facilities were good. But after this, after hurricane, past, David passed, broke down some of the facilities, the buildings. It wasn't as that good as here now. Here is much better. Normally in the morning we get up and we start our daily chores. First we check the animals, we do a daily inventory, and after which the stockmen, they go in, they would feed the animals, then clean the animals, basically. And after that, they would do other chores, see, like they would go into the pastures and help out with some of the field workers. And basically that's what we do daily. Yeah.
And how many times per day would you go in and feed the animals, clean them, etc.?
We do that only once. Normally every morning we feed once, we clean once, make sure that they have their water and plenty of water that goes to all the animals, and that we do every day, once a day.
Work being carried out on the site includes the establishment of a nuclear breeding stock, the renovation of administration and accommodation buildings, improvement of access roads and related infrastructure, and the establishment of pasture. Palm trees are being felled in preparation for the rainy season to allow grass to be cultivated. The piggery unit of the Central Livestock Farm is still currently being outfitted.
It's a unit designed to accommodate 18 mothers or 18 sows and 6 boars, and all the little ones that would be associated or that would be produced from the unit. The unit is designed as well with a small office that would be used as an office, but also to introduce artificial insemination, which is a method of multiplying the pigs without actually using physical male on the female. We also have the farrowing area, which is the maternity area where the animals will give birth, and in the critical days of the piglets, then they will be cared for within that facility at the back. We also have an area where we will grow some of the replacement females, the animals that would be used for future development or future breeding. We would keep them over in another part of the unit. We are ready. The pen was completed about 2 months ago. We are now in the process of procuring the animals from St. Lucia. If we remember, during the swine flu outbreak, we had to cease the importation of pigs, live animals. Our initial plan and the initial plan of the ministry then was to procure the animals from Canada, who is one of, a country with probably some of the better genetic material. But because of that swine flu issue, we had to look within the region, which was an area that was without any swine flu, to bring in these animals. So we located and we asked around the region, and St. Lucia about 6 to 9 months before had imported pigs from Canada, which were healthy. So we engaged them, and they gladly agreed to provide us with genetic material. We expect to get the pigs in when they are probably 3 months old. We're going to rear them up to 9 months to a year, start the breeding process, and would be able to have young ones 3 months after that, three months after that. So we're looking at about a year to actually start distribution of young animals. But these animals would be of superior genetic material, which we can use as a means of increasing or improving our genetic material locally.
How would you describe the local breeds that we have presently on the island as compared to the ones that we're hoping to have in this facility?
Okay, about 20 years ago, we did a total, where we introduced genetic material. Back then we had a black and white pig, which was a saddleback, and our local pigs. So with the introduction of this genetic material 20 years ago, we saw the advent of the white pig, what we call the white pig. And so we brought in these animals, but through uncontrolled breeding, we have seen that there's a decrease in the efficiency at which the pigs produce. We've seen smaller pigs, smaller litters, etc. So with the introduction of that genetic material, we're hoping that we'll be able to to take that back up to the true efficiency of production of these pigs. Because these pigs are bred for superior meat quality, superior mothering abilities, etc. So if you want to introduce that into the final objective of increasing the amount of pig that we have, that pig or pork that we have on our local markets. Our goal here is to produce the genetic material, distribute it to the farmers, that they can multiply their animals, slaughter their animals, and distribute it out to the marketplace.
Another important component of the central livestock farm is the sheep breeding unit. Sheep in Dominica are used for meat, not for wool. Most of the animals on the island are bred to be wool-less. From time to time, animals with predisposed genetics will grow patches of wool. Dominica's tropical climate would suffocate any sheep with a thick coat of wool. The sheep unit, like the piggery, is designed to provide livestock farmers with certified high-quality breeding stock.
We have two main breeds of sheep there. That's the black belly sheep and a local sheep that we were able to work with some other genetic material to produce something that we can use in terms of meat. It's designed to hold 75 mothers and 6 males, rams. We are underpopulated at present since our move from stock farm. We had to import some new breeding material. We had to get rid of some of the older material. So in the process of increasing and multiplying for our own purposes first, and then for distribution to farmers. We're not so much into totally replacing what the farmers has. For many farmers have animals they have had over generations. They have developed a certain level of resistance and adaptability to their farms and to their locales. And we just want to be able to improve on that by providing genetic material in a meal, in the form of a meal, that will improve that and add further traits onto those animals, either meat quality or whatever, or growth rate, which will then be better off for the farmer. Rather than trying to get the farmer to start off with a herd of pure black belly, for example, which he has no experience with. So this is really the objective and the type of strategy that we use to try to improve the quality of the animals that the farmers have.
The sheep facility has been designed using the slotted floor system, which is ideal for modern-day livestock farming. It consists of barns with pens and a wooden floor with boards spaced apart to allow feces to drop to the ground. The barns are several feet off the ground, keeping the animals out of contact with feces and breaking the parasitic cycle.
Now, this facility has a unique technology, that we actually adopted from the region. It's called a slatted floor system. If you notice, the floors are with the slats in between there, which allows for the movement of the feces down to the floor, which kind of reduces the contact between the animal and its actual feces, which is necessary to prevent the occurrence of internal parasites. Now, a pen like this also lends itself to a system of production which we call cut and carry, where you cut the grass and bring it and feed into the animals. You see the troughs all around. It lends itself to that kind of technology. Here we kind of combine the two. Our pastures are not of the best quality as yet, as we develop our farm. So we combine grazing, free-range grazing, along with the cut and carry system. But this unit in itself lends itself to that type of technology where you can cut grass from outside and bring in and feed the animals.
Farmers needing to purchase sheep stock from the farm will first need to make a formal request from his or her extension officer. The animals are sold to farmers at subsidized prices as a major incentive for them to improve on their production.
To eliminate persons coming here and buying the best genetic material and destroying them, we ensure that each farmer goes through his extension officer. His extension officer gives him a recommendation, which is then brought to my office, and we scrutinize it and ensure that the farmer is indeed a farmer and is indeed into production. And once that is done, when we pass the information on to the farm, and they make arrangements with the farmer, the animal, in terms of making sure that there's an animal available, getting the weight, etc., so he can come and purchase.
Goats can be considered to be the most abundant livestock on the island. The Central Livestock Farm in Londonderry also boasts of a goat breeding facility, which was built to house over 150 goats. The goats are fed a diet of freshly cut grass. Historically, goats were used only for meat production, but recently, several dairy breeds have been introduced.
At present, we have similar challenges as with the sheep in terms of we trying to upgrade the number of animals available to increase the capacity of the pen. We have had, or we got the introduction, you see behind me, an introduction of some goats from the US. They came through the initiative of the local Deliverance Baptist Church and one of their affiliates in the US. They came in here and offered us some assistance in goats, and we got some 35 animals in that we are now multiplying for distribution to farmers. It's a newer goat in the sense that it is a smaller goat. But the reason why we went for that type of breed, which is incidentally Nigerian dwarf goat, it is a smaller animal and it is able to withstand a lot more parasites than some of the more temperate goats. So we brought these animals in as a means of trying to get some of the farmers who have limited land space but wanting to keep one or two animals. They're able to keep much more animals of this size than the larger goats. So that was the initiative. They also have that capacity to produce more milk. We got the animals during that time when the world was going through all the period with the food crisis, etc. And so we were looking at means of introducing cheap protein to our population.
Cattle are the largest livestock on the island, and therefore the most difficult to rear, as they require a significant amount of food and space. The facility at Londonderry currently houses 22 cattle. They are mostly Holstein and Jersey cattle being bred for dairy production. The facility also has 2 bulls for reproduction purposes. A calf rearing facility will also be constructed soon.
The free components blends into themselves from the point of view that you need the bulls there to keep the females pregnant, that you can get the milk as soon as they give birth, that you can harvest the milk. You need to have the facility for actually harvesting the milk, and an area for rearing the calves. Rearing the calves from the point of view of being able to remove them from the mother early, put them on some supplements, and to be able to grow them strong that they can be sold to the farmers.
Okay, talk to us about the number of cattle that we have on the farm at the moment.
The facility is designed to keep 25 mother cows, 25 cows and 2 bulls. We are at present at 22 cows and 2 bulls. We would like many of our animals that we get yearly, we actually sell them out to farmers for breed improvement, similar to any of the other species that we have.
Presently, what is the stock like of cattle on the island? I remember back in the days of my grandfather, Daniel Green, we had quite a number of cows on Dominica. What's the situation right now?
No, our populations are significantly lower. Again, many of our large plantations were sold out. Housing came in and restricted the areas that were available for livestock. Some of the older farmers themselves have expired. Most of the older persons had this cows. It's difficult to get young farmers, young individuals to go in and actually do cattle rearing, because cattle, and pulling a cow chain is really hard work. But we still see pockets of that in the northeast, in the south, particularly the Granby area. We still see a fair amount of cattle available.
The breeding system of cattle on the farm is controlled, and records are kept, as well as detailed pedigrees.
Breeds remain pretty constant. We have the black and white cows, we call black and white cows, which are Holstein cows. They are predominantly used as a dual purpose animal, producing both milk and meat. Although in some countries they are predominantly the herds for milk production. We also had the brown cows, which were Jerseys. In Jerseys, they are actually milk animals. They are more docile, smaller animals, and our Creole animals. In the past, we have introduced an animal, a beef type animal, which is called a Brangus, which is predominantly for beef, for meat production. As we multiply these animals and distribute it to the farmers, the farmers are able to improve their herds, improve the quality of the animals.
Dairy production is a main focus at the cattle facility.
We ourselves, we are into the collecting, harvesting the milk for distribution. Our largest client would be the hospitals. For years since we were back at Stock Farm, we have always provided milk to the hospital, and we're in the process of starting that again since we have moved here. At present we provide milk to Marigot and some school to Marigot Hospital, and some of the schools in the surrounding area. We provide that milk that they can be used to feed the students at school.
Profile, a fact-finding mission on matters of development by the Government Information Service.
Schools in the northeast of the island have included fresh milk donated from the farm as a compulsory diet for the children.
Well, it is very important because long ago they used to have cow milk, but then the farmers get rid of the cows. We don't have much cows as before, so we go to the shop to get the milk, and those milk are highly preserved, and then the shop for a long time. But the fresh milk have no preservative, straight from the farm, and it is very nutritious for them. And they drink it, they enjoy the milk. In the beginning they didn't like it, and then we tell them that it will help you to learn, it will help you to grow, you will become strong, and encourage them to drink it. So now they just ask, "Teacher, I want my milk juice." So we give it to them at 12 o'clock, and it is very nutritious for them. Even for us, the teachers, we also have our share.
It has been very useful in that we distribute it to the children. They take it home, they share it with the family. Initially, we received the milk from the animal farm when we had a school feeding program running. So it was very timely that we were able to get the milk, and that helped to save some costs in terms of the overall running of the program.
Because it's delicious and it comes from the farm, and my mother also likes it too, and it's okay.
So do you think it's a good idea that the farm provides your school with cow milk on a regular basis?
Yes. So every Tuesday I get my bottle filled and bring home.
Another interesting component of the Central Livestock Farm is its rabbit rearing facility. Genetic rabbit material was sourced from various parts of the country to breed at the farm.
When we were over at the Central Livestock Farm in Stock Farm, we were plagued with a disease that actually wiped out all our rabbits. We had to actually get rid of all the rabbits, including touching of the building. So we were plagued with a situation: how do we get back to our rabbit production? And what happened, quite by accident, I think, we started, when we moved over here, we started to collect genetic material from farmers around the island. We were able to collect rabbits from various parts of Dominica, and we were able to pull them together into this facility. And we have seen, we produce quite a lot of what I would call creolized rabbits. They grow very well, they produce very well, and we didn't have to introduce any new genetic material to contaminate our soils again. So we have a nice local breed of rabbits, varying colors, but we were able to breed and concentrate some of the genes that were essential to us, that of litter size and growth and development. So we have some animals that has been actually sold out to the local farmers. It is designed to keep 50 mothers and 10 males. We have had genuine interest in rabbit production from a backyard point of view. We have had the forage programs, and persons really just keep some rabbits in their backyard. But recently, the increased demand for rabbit meat from the rabbit festival, we have seen persons expanding their rabbit production and getting actually into commercial rabbit production.
One farmer who has made some major strides in rabbit production in Dominica in recent times is Andrew Green of Mount Daniel.
I was fortunate to have had the experience, the exposure, the knowledge from Mr. Green, Daniel Green, my father. And that wasn't enough. I had to do a lot of it on my own. I had to go on the net, on the websites. I had to do a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of time spending here to get the project to a T. Right now, I know it by heart. I can spell it out. I can teach on that subject.
Andrew has been rearing rabbits for the past 3 years. He has a current holding of 700 rabbits on his farm and is now the biggest rabbit farmer on the island.
It's an expensive venture. I must say that I got a little bit of assistance from the Ministry of Agriculture through the veterinary department, based both in direct wire and a little technical in setting up, finding out the dimensions of the cages and etc. So as I could have whatever I was doing uniform. And I got quite a good assistance from them in that respect. I think so far I've reached a fairly good standard. I would like to see government use farmers of my type, or the nature of which I keep things and do things, and use them for models. We need model farmers so that people from my constituency or close districts, the schools, can come, do a visit, a weekly visit from this school every other weekend or whatever day it is. Make a day and bring the children to see what it is that you'd like them to do in the future.
Livestock farmer David LeBlanc has been operating in Anse de May for over 12 years, rearing sheep and goats. He is also an active fisherman and plants vegetables and other root crops.
With this livestock farm is a very good opportunity for farmers, because with this livestock you can benefit a lot of different ways and a lot of different things, because it helps to cut down the cost of imported meat, and it also helps to occupy the time of children. Instead of going playing around on the streets, it helps them to occupy the time and to know a little bit more about animals and farming, because with this livestock you can do a lot of different things by gaining money to pay your bills, to feed your family, and also to feed the public.
How long have you been in the farming business?
Well, I've been in the farming for 13 years now.
And would you conclude that it's a lucrative business for people to get involved in?
It is.
So how exactly has the Central Livestock Farm benefited you?
Well, it benefit me very good.
In what way?
Well, in financial situation, instead of in forms of buying meat and buying vegetables and also buying provisions.
Cedric Gardier, another outstanding farmer, has been rearing pigs for over 15 years. He is presently managing and operating a major piggery in Savon York in Salisbury. The piggery was once owned by government.
Yes.
So how did you happen to be here now?
Well, when they were closing the place, they were looking for a farmer that was in the business and was a little successful. And when they look around, they feel, well, I was one of the most successful farmer in the business. And especially, I must give thanks to Dr. McIntyre. He's the one who said that I'm the one who should have the place. And he did his utmost best. Imagine, he made even the documents for me free. He didn't charge me not 1 cent. Just to be sure, he was not interested in money, he was just interested in seeing the business continue. So he wanted me to get that place, and then now I have to give thanks now to Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, who was so generous. When I came to him and I told him my situation, he's a man with a good heart, and he responded immediately. And I think the day after I spoke to him, he assigned me to a date to come and visit my farm. He came and he was impressed what he saw, you know, on the savannah where I had my farm. And with no problem, he leased the place to me and allowing me to use the place even before anything. And he told me only for $1 per year. You could imagine. It is not that difficult, but it's just that you need to be knowledgeable in what you do. And this you can get from the Ministry of Agriculture. Those who are working alongside with us, Dr. Farmers, first it was Dr. McIntyre, and through learning from them we have accumulated quite a bit of knowledge in the pig business and experience which we ourselves obtained. And also there is a market for pig meat, but it's only that we have some competition from overseas, you know, importers.
Dominica imports approximately $70 million worth of general livestock products annually. The government of Dominica, as a means of complementing investments made in the Central Livestock Farm, has other plans for maintaining food security on the island. Efforts are underway to improve on the poultry subsector in the medium term.
There is a demand for venison in this country, that is goat meat. There is a demand for pork. There is a demand for beef. There is a demand for chicken. But we in Dominica, we are not producing, for example, chicken to a quantity that will meet the demand of the supermarkets and so on. And the other question that we have to ask ourselves is whether we are able to compete with the imported chicken. Because to be able to compete, we have to compete in price, we have to compete in quantity, we have to compete in quality. What this ministry or what this government intends to do is to put in place a poultry program for the expansion of the poultry subsector. Okay? And we have done the project proposal, and we have submitted the project proposal to the Ministry of Finance. And during the new financial year, we expect to see a vast improvement with respect to increased production and productivity in the poultry subsector.
Attention will also be placed on expanding pig farms on the island.
Pork, we also have a similar program that will respond to capacity building in both pork and poultry subsectors, to expand of the farms, of the pig farms, and also we will be seeing an increase in production and in productivity in the pork subsector. We have already been assisting individual farmers, and what is significant is that we intend as a strategy to target farmers who can produce on a large scale. We are going to give them the technical assistance, help them to target or to access the financial resource, so that they will be able to expand their farms and to be able to meet production figures, to supply on a domestic level and also for exportation to regional and maybe international market. This is my vision.
You have the potential here of eating Dominican food, and that is what I think government would like to achieve by making this investment in livestock so that farmers can stay in those things. But they have to pull all the factors of production together in one place and make sure the system works.
The Central Livestock Farm is already serving as a training ground for farmers and students wishing to sharpen their skills in livestock production. A research center is currently being built at Londonderry.
It's a facility constructed with assistance again from the local Deliverance Baptist Church and their affiliate over in the US. The building houses a small conference area, a lab, a kitchenette, and 2 sleeping facilities. What we envisage over there is that a researcher from wherever can come in, spend some time on the farm, do some work on the farm, but Dominica benefits because it's something that we do to be mutually agreed before, and that we can use to increase and improve our livestock production. So this is the hope over there. The government of Dominica also assisted in finishing off the building. As you can see, we're still under construction. So the government of Dominica has provided some assistance to complete that structure. We have had interest from persons, schools, offshore schools interested in coming to do some research with us. So it's something that we're looking at. As I said, one of the major objectives of this facility, this entire farm, is to be able to do research that benefits the Commonwealth of Dominica. Because from time to time, we get farmers, groups of farmers and school children, they come in there and we have demonstrations with them. We teach them certain aspects of animal husbandry, which is necessary, a constant reminder of or the introduction of new technologies that improves and increases the production, the local production, which is what we really do.
It's very good in that it gives them that opportunity to see how we do livestock, how we manage the livestock, how we take care of the animals. Apart from the farmers coming in, we have lots of schools coming in. We have schools, secondary schools, primary schools, preschools. We have had schools, secondary schools from even as far as Granby coming in every year, just to have a first-hand knowledge and a first-hand look of how we manage the livestock on the farm.
Although the Central Livestock Farm is not fully operational, extension officers are already giving the facility the thumbs up.
This livestock farm is a godsend. Our farmers in the past used to struggle for animal stocks, fencing material, and also technical advice with regards to livestock. With the introduction of that animal farm, we have seen a lot of interest being stimulated in the livestock section. Farmers have stimulated their interest in small stocks, goats, sheep, rabbit, and even showing interest in cattle. Why? Because the farm being in the northeast, we have easy access to information. We can take the farmers on the farm to teach them, to demonstrate to them livestock production. We can also take the farmers here to see the housing, how our houses are designed. We can also take the farmers here to see pasture development. We can also bring them here for clinical services. They can take the animals here to be treated because we have a vet station on that farm. Another important aspect of this farm is education. Our schools, the primary schools, the 4-H programs, they do a lot of rabbits, they do a lot of small stocks, poultry. This farm, we have used it for many times to organize field trips, take the students here. And when the students are taken to the farm, they see everything, their interest is aroused, and they become more interested in livestock production. So educationally it has helped. The secondary school has used it for their CXC, school-based assessment, practicals, they have used it for that. So the teachers would bring the students here so they can do some practicals and then they can be evaluated. Because the schools in our area lack some of the livestock infrastructure that they need to do the school-based assessment.
Extension officers have also seen an improvement in vegetable production on the island as a direct result of the development of the central livestock farm.
With regards to vegetables, it has stimulated vegetable production. Our greenhouse farmers, our vegetable farmers, they make use of the pen manure that is generated from that farm. So it has helped to our farmers to produce better vegetables, more naturally friendly vegetables, because they can use the natural dung from the livestock farm, the goat pen, so they can use it to input into their soil and develop their vegetable production.
In addition to providing farmers with upgraded animal stock, government is also making available quality wire material to livestock farmers at subsidized prices.
Another important aspect is the input supply, fencing wire. Normally in the past, farmers would have to go all the way to Roseau to stock farm to source sheep fencing wire or goat fencing wire. With the introduction of that farm, we have everything on the farm, so the farmers don't have to travel far. They come to the farm right there, they can buy their material to do their fencing. So that is another thing that it has helped to stimulate.
The work of extension officers in the northeastern part of the island is now less complex with the presence of the new livestock farm.
With regards to extension, it has made our work easier. Right? In the past, we would have to organize a field trip to the south to see a model livestock farm. But with the introduction of that farm here, we can take our farmers right here. Sometimes we can even walk our farmers to the farm to show them what we are doing here. And this has helped to make our work a little easier.
What I can say to the livestock farmers, that the government has a practical plan as a way forward to develop, to expand, and to modernize the livestock subsector. We would like to use the livestock subsector as a sector that can generate employment and income for those who are leaving school and there are no, call it white-collar jobs to do. Okay, then they can get themselves involved in some kind of productive activities. It is very important that they realize that they have to do, or they have to rear their animals, okay, as a business, and they have to do it as a business. And the government is going to put in place, as I've said previously, the resources. We are going to pump the resources in the livestock subsector. Okay, we have put in place, okay, the central livestock sector, which is going to be that driving force behind the livestock subsector, okay, to ensure that everything is in place for them to be able to utilize so that they will be able to meet their objectives with respect to the production of meat in this country.
As you have just learned, the government of Dominica is taking unprecedented steps to upgrade and update livestock production on the island. The new livestock facility at Londonderry will be central in distributing animals with superior genetics that thrive in the Dominican environment. This distribution will ultimately spread across the island as families buy animals that yield more meat and milk than previous generations, thereby creating an island-wide economic boost. With that now a reality, we can safely conclude that the future of livestock in Dominica looks promising.
So I think it's a challenge that we have to look at in terms of effectively bringing back people to livestock and showing them the opportunities that are available. So we hope that the farm expresses that and is a demonstration of that commitment to the livestock sector that will allow us to bring new individuals into the subsector.
The establishment of the central livestock farm is primarily to serve as a driving force behind the livestock subsector in Dominica to make it self-sufficient and self-reliant.
So all in all, I think this farm is beneficial to the Northeast. It has stimulated the interest in livestock, and we have seen increase in our livestock production. We have seen farmers showing interest, and we have seen young students, especially the 4-H clubs at the primary schools. So the students would come here and buy their rabbits, and it has all stimulated the interest. So I think all in all, that livestock farm, although it is not completed, we have the other aspects to complete, like the pig section, the cattle section to complete. I think when it is completed, it will be a state-of-the-art institution for the Northeast.
But I want to have a chicken farm so that I might be able to sell broiler chicken to the island. And already the government already see that vision, and they are trying to help farmers in that behalf. I am so glad for what they are doing.